just get started. Just get started.
The real Merry Christmas happens when all of that noise is gone, it's quiet, and it's you against you, and now all those endorphins are gone. And I promise you made by getting up early and getting after it to go lose weight, study harder, guess what? It's a lot harder now. That repetition becomes a lot harder now.
The thing is with me is I don't give a I don't give a
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what anybody says or what anybody thinks. I have this mindset. I know exactly who the I am. I have my circle of people that I hang around with who know me and know what I'm about and whatever. And anybody else who doesn't like it or doesn't want it, look bad. Okay.
Take action. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. A body at rest tends to stay at rest. You've had enough damn rest. Go take action.
Do you actually want to do this or not? Because if you actually want to do it, what's going to stop you? Nothing. And if you don't really want to do it, what's going to stop you? Just about anything that comes up. Just about any obstacle that gets in your way becomes an excuse. It becomes a reason. It becomes a rationale for not proceeding down that path.
You know that expression I always say, guys? You burn the midnight oil now, otherwise you stay awake in the midnight hours wondering what if. We destroyed that here tonight. It's 2 a.m. right now. No one here. Mano to mano, me and you, and where we want to go tomorrow.
If you believe it, if you really believe that you could be something, if you have that little voice in your head saying, hey, you got talent, you could do this, then follow that voice.
The longest time in the world is the hesitation between thought and action. Well, at least it has the potential to be the longest time. It can actually be forever. Forever. 1 second can actually become an eternity. That's how much it can flex. You can hesitate for 1 second to get started on something, a workout, a project, a task, something that you know you should do. You can hesitate for 1 second. That 1 second of hesitation, all of a sudden it turns into 5 seconds. And then 10 seconds, and then 10 minutes. And then just like that, you drifted into the eternity zone. 1 second became an eternity because something that was gonna happen is now never gonna happen, ever. Why is that? Because you hesitated.
The biggest risk to your future isn't your competition. It's the distractions you insist on keeping in your life, rather than doing the things you know you should be doing but aren't. People delay doing things they don't like for longer than it takes to do them.
It's the what if I can pull off a miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be? And just me talking about that, I have the hair going up on my arms because it makes me just like, what if?
The biggest advice I could give you right now, the biggest advice that anybody could give you, and this is not my words, Woody Allen told me this. I said, Woody, what's the secret to success? He said, 85 to 90% of life is just showing up. Show up. If you show up, there's a chance something could happen.
It's hard when you're young to wake up in the off season at 6 a.m. to go train and work out, knowing that all your friends are sleeping in and eating pancakes. It's hard when you're on your way to practice, weighed down with all your gear, and it's 90 degrees out and all the other kids are at the pool or at the beach, and your body is already completely exhausted from workouts in 2-a-days. It's hard to throw, catch, block, and tackle, and hit kids when they're way bigger and way more developed than you, only to go home that night bruised and battered and strained, but knowing you have to show up again the next day for just the chance to try again. But understand this, life is hard.
2 a.m. What I love about 2 a.m. is that we're not living by the clock, man. Just because the clock says 10 o'clock, time to go to sleep, or 9 to 5, time to go to work. That's bullshit. If you're in bed right now and you're rolling around, you can't fall asleep, get the fuck up. It probably means you haven't done an honest day's work to earn that rest at night. 2 a.m., not a person's here. I can scream my ass off. No one hears me. I can cry. I can shit myself. I can put an honest day's work in here that more than anyone does in a week. and no one sees it, because it's supposed to be that way. This is a means to the ends. It's not the ends. All those motherfuckers that come here, their hair done, the makeup, these guys come in the shirts to be seen, missing the point, man. Missing the point. You're not in here to get an achievement. You're in here to pay your dues, so later in life, you never wonder what if.
I cannot stress this enough. The more you put into anything in life, the more you're going to get out. Now, for whatever reason, people understand this. And they understand that the more you put into building a business, the more you're going to get out of it. The more hours you spend working on anything, the more you are going to get out. Work pays.
The moment I did it, I was like, wow, that took way less time than I thought it was going to take. And not only that, it took way less time than it took me to delay to actually get to this point. And if I had only started with just doing what I was supposed to do, I could have done 4 or 5 other things that I was also supposed to do by this exact same point. And so thinking about it from that perspective, I've tried to eliminate as much time between I think I should do this thing and beginning doing it. And I think you get this positive reinforcement cycle that occurs every time you start. I call it pulling the thread. It's like, I just need to start pulling the thread. And then all of a sudden what feels really unknown becomes very tangible. And you're like, oh, I understand the 6 problems I have to solve to do this big thing. But now I know the problems. And then it feels like you can wrap your arms around it. And then you can start taking it one bite at a time.
The next year is going to go by whether you're doing something about your life or not. The next 10 months are going to go by whether somebody is working to make change or whether they're not. And they may think, oh my God, I'm so far overweight, I'll never get it under control, or I'm so behind in my bills, or I'm so, just depressed. Well, you know what? You make those incremental changes, and then, pretty soon in December you go, hey, I'm way better off than I was at the end of February. So you made little changes and they all added up. And if you don't, by the end of the year, you're just in deeper. So every little bit matters.
We're putting the work in now so we never wonder what if. Not run by the clock. Run by our desire where we want to go tomorrow. Our competition's asleep right now. We're getting ahead of that competition. The margins between first and loser, the second place finisher, growing and growing and growing. They're all gonna fight for second place. They won't be able to keep up with you. That's being on the right path, man. Never looking back to our past. The past is great. We're proud of it. But it's not the current day. All that created who we are right now, where life begins, and how we feel and where we want to go, using that information to excel ourselves to the future of where we want to be tomorrow, which is right now, last I looked. Not when the sun comes up. It's when we're ready to get up. It's called never looking back, man. Looking forward where we want to go. It begins right now.
The only thing that you can do is win so big that all of them constantly compare themselves to you, and then you'll forget they exist. And that's when he said, success is the only revenge. He's like, it's not the best revenge. He's like, it's the only one. There's no other revenge. Because everything else is petty. Everything else does show that you were thinking about these people all day long, which means they win by default.
I'm tired. I'm moving in slow motion, but I need to go to the gym and dumbbell press 150-pound dumbbells. Like, how does that translate? My mind doesn't think I can do it. I'm severely underestimating my strength that I can't pick this can up. But when I get to the gym, I need to overpower my mind and just do it. I need to understand that I still have the muscle, I still have the strength. I'm just being a lazy little right now, and I need to pick up that weight and do it and overpower it. And sometimes when you're getting in there and you're overthinking and all these things come in too much of like, I have to do this, and this, I have to do a 4-second negative. Oh my God, that's going to be so hard. I should drop the weight. Then like, no, just get in there, know what you can do, bust your ass and get out of there.
Yeah.
Sometimes overthinking it holds you back.
What did I learn about myself from the highs and lows of my life? The highest point of my life and the lowest point of my life, what did I learn about myself? And I said, I learned that I don't let the highs and the lows affect me too much. Because we're gonna have wins, we're gonna have losses. We're gonna have successes, we're gonna have failures. We're gonna have good nights, we're gonna have bad nights. We're We're gonna have good relationships, we're gonna have bad relationships. We're gonna have good ideas and bad ideas. We're gonna make money, we're gonna lose money. All these things are gonna happen. And if you oscillate emotionally up and down drastically, it's gonna be problematic. So finding a good, stable, centered way to be and look at the world and take everything that you see with a little bit of a grain of salt and don't get swayed too drastically in one direction or the other, you're gonna be okay.
The difference between a dream and a goal is a timeline and accountability.
Yeah, accountability is gigantic.
You got to have somebody, whether it's yourself or a friend or somebody, that's going to say, look, did you do what you said you were going to do by this time? And if you don't, hold your feet to the fire. Because, I mean, just sitting around dreaming someday, someday I'm going to get a different job. Someday I'm going to change this. Well, someday ain't a day of the week. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Look on your calendar. Some days not on there. So you got to say, okay, I want to take this small step by here, this small step by there, this small step by there. And then pretty soon, we don't leap tall buildings in a single bound. We take it a floor at a time.
We're not on this stage just because of talent or ability. We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of 2-a-days or 5-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way. If anything tried to bring us down, we used it to make us stronger. We were never satisfied, never finished, will never be retired. My high school English teacher, Mr. Fisk, I actually paid attention one time in class, and he said, he had this beautiful quote, and it read, "Rest at the end, not in the middle."
You are your own hero. You are your own leader. You are your own master. And that is a big one, because we idolize so many people, and we want to be them. We want to be someone else. And in doing that, you lose all the potential of who you are. You mimic, you be them, you are them, you become them, and you lose you. And we look up to so many people in this world who will let us down. We're humans. I'm gonna let you down. You're gonna let somebody down. If you put them on a pedestal, you then lose time when that person comes up and lets you down. You must hold yourself accountable, and being your own hero, that's what that does. You make yourself so totally accountable for who you are. You focus on you and only on you to become the best person you can be for others. Because we leave a lot on the table, not searching who we are. And then therefore, you die not knowing your greatest potential.
The reality of life is this: the world's relentless, and it will not stop beating your ass until you wake up and start beating it back. And when I see self-love and all this, I do understand where they're coming from. Those people are talking to people who are on the brink, right? Yep. And they think their entire world's crumbling, and they're telling them it's okay. But I actually think that's the wrong message. I think the right message is this: hey, this is how it is if you don't go hard. This is what you're going to get if you do not try hard to develop yourself and get off the bench and get in the game. And I say that out of a place of love and caring for people, because I want them to feel better and I want them to do better. And I know what's not going to get them better is just accepting themselves and all their behavior and all their vices and inaction and procrastination and low standards is creating the way you feel.
And I promise you, every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something with their life has gone through the exact chapter that you're going through. And it's the lonely chapter. It's the chapter where you don't fit in with your own friends, but you don't have the outcomes yet to fit into a new group of friends. And you're doing this thing, you're consuming content on the internet, you're doing these free tutorials online to try and figure out how to set up a podcast and where do I host this thing? And then you're going through this and you're like, is this even worth it? Because you have no signs of success, right? But if there's anything that you can take away from what we're saying right now, is that the sign of success is the hate that you get along the way. And what you can't do is bend the knee to their hate and fit back into the conformity because it's comfortable and it's warm.
You get off your ass and you create something that's always been there. It's always been inside of you trying to come out, but you've never wanted to unwrap it because it's too much pain and commitment. You were scared you were going to fail. You were scared if you started, you never finish it. You didn't want to tell anyone about it. You knew it was there, but you never wanted to embark on it until something hits. You get fired or somebody else gets success, remind you of what you could have been. And then the spark is born. And no matter what happens, I'm never going to be in this boat again. And you get up and you go, even if it gets knocked down, you just keep going, you're a wild man. And life has never been so sweet.